Hey everybody. Let's pick up where we left off. Um, but before I do that, I'm realizing my laptop isn't plugged in. Just a sec. Here we go. Right, we are charging. So let me share my screen. And we are picking up this MR, which Lee lovingly created and brought up during the pairing session. Refactor IDE modal spec to view test utils. So we see that that's where we started off with the diff. We were using this helper, which just actually manually mounts the view component completely, and we don't get to have cool features like shallow mounting or not being able to assert props and all sorts of things like that. But now we're using our view test utils helper. We're also going to try to improve some of the testing practices happening here where we're directly mutating the component state and directly calling methods, although some of this stuff we might not be able to address. So let's check out this branch and let's push it forward. So copy the branch by pressing B. I'm at the GitLab project that I have checked out. Let me go ahead and open up VS Code here. Here we go. Never mind that stuff. Let's see where I'm at. All right, let me fetch. The GitLab workflow extension, what's that? I'll install that later. Git CO. Gonna check out the refactor ID modal spec branch. Great. So now let's open up this test that we're refactoring. Let me go ahead and run yarn to install whatever dependencies I might need. All right. Yarn run just. Great. Okay, we ran just. It's running on the thing. It's taking some time. Let's do it. Let's do it just. All right. Cool. So this passed. Let's see what's going on here. We have. Okay, so here looks like we added this assertion to make sure that we're rendering the modal. Let me go ahead and just open up the test subject next to this. The where is the path to it? New dropdown modal.view. Here we go. Boom. All right. So without doing anything to this component, so side note, one of the downsides of this component is it's not totally stateful, meaning that it looks like we expect it to initialize its state by having this public method called, which methods aren't really public, but they kind of are in view land. So that's just where we're at. So we have a to do to kind of change this to maybe we can be more stateful on this, but right now it should be fine. What's not in scope is really changing this underlying component too much. So here in this test context, we're just mounting the component. We're not calling that open method or anything like that. And so let's just see what we get initially. So initially, the modal should exist. Whenever I test whether components are present, I kind of like to double check their props. So like just dot exists isn't the strongest assertion. So let's see if we can check the props and see what that would look like. Maybe they already, when they were working on this, maybe there's a reason why they didn't do that, but let's see. Oh, it looks like we're only running this one. So I'm actually going to describe this one. We'll do that describe later. Maybe describe that X describe that each isn't a thing. Okay, awesome. So yes, we get the cancel button, the primary button, secondary is null. We have a dismiss label. That looks like that's not being set by us. Yeah, we have a title and stuff that we all initialize at. So I think we can, I think we can assert on some of this stuff. But I'd like to do that. So I'd like to assert on, we have, so here I see we're referencing this action cancel. Is that like a computed and something? Let's see what action cancel actually is. Yeah, this is kind of just a hard coded thing. I said I didn't want to change this component. I kind of really want to, because this doesn't need to be a computed thing. This can just be a static thing. But that's fine. I won't worry about it. But let me pull in the internationalization. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's already over there. All right, we'll just leave it at that then. All right. Action cancel has attributes variant default X cancel. Cool. Action primary has attributes. Oh, Voller, what is your deal? Confirm X create file. Great. All right. Action secondary is null. We can go ahead and, well, that we're not setting that, so maybe we shouldn't assert that. Maybe we should though. Let's go ahead and do that. We don't have any, I don't have worried about the label, the dismiss label. We could assert on the modal ID. That might be wise. I'll go ahead and add the Lauren. Yeah, I'll go ahead and add this. We'll add the modal ID too. There's no harm in having stricter assertions. Title has the create new file title. Title tag, we're not necessarily setting. Cool. So I'm only doing a subset of these because some of these, I mean, we could include all of it. But if I did 2 equal and then we like added a new prop to GL modal, this test is going to fail. So I'm actually just going to do to match object. Oops, I have extra spaces here, which I did not mean to have. All right, let's see if that works. So I'm going to do fit to focus this test and just run it. Voller, I'm going to uninstall you. You have been disappointing. Cool, awesome. We are rendering the modal. So along with that, we might want to show that we're rendering also this, we have a test previously that we're rendering this form label. We could test that we're rendering this input. Are we creating? So all of this is without calling this open method, which, sorry, this open method, which this component is kind of expecting to be its quote unquote entry point that initializes its state and stuff. And I think that's fine. So what I'm thinking in my head is, I don't know, do I want to add assertions for like these inputs and stuff without calling that open? And I think I'm going to, just to keep it simple, let's just assert all the interesting stuff that we're rendering here. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, it renders label, expect wrapper dot find label dot text to be name. All right, and maybe we can even say it renders the name label. All right, let's see if that works. Let's run it. Maybe I should start a watcher. That's a good idea. I can start a watcher. Did not find it actually, and that's probably because this modal is a stub. So so like if I do, we'll go ahead and do fit here. If I did console find GL modal HTML, see what all the, when I say a stub, it's because we're shallow mounting this, so it doesn't actually know what to do with modal things. That's okay. That's okay. All right, let's go find it. Oh, it's not actually. Yeah, obviously, it's not having any HTML, because if I call wrapper.html, is what I meant to call here. Yeah, let's see. Let me clear this. Let me go ahead and also start the watcher, so I'm not having to keep doing anything like that. Let's see. Here we go. It's wrapper HTML empty. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, wrapper HTML would be empty because the modal doesn't exist. So, but I thought it would have done the modal stuff. Instead of doing wrapper.html, let me see what happens if I do wrapper.element. Let me just do the elements. All right. There's a lot. All right. I thought that we would have. Anyways, I kind of know what I need to fix here. Oh, we are doing a full mount here. Oh, that's why it's not showing up. Okay, yes. I thought we were doing a shallow mount. We probably changed it to a full mount for this modal thing to work, but that's not necessarily like my favorite way of handling this. It's a totally fine way, but you see how I'm already confused. Like, why isn't this modal? Why can't I see this thing? We have a cool stub that we can use to replace modal. So we can do shallow mounts, but replace the GL modal with a test version of it that makes testing modals a little easier. So that these things can actually be visible. Let me see if I can find that stub modal. Ooh, is this it? Is this what I was thinking of? This might be what I'm thinking of. Yeah, we have a stub component helper. Yes. This is helpful for stubbing components like GL modal. Yes. Component create stubbed methods. Yeah, create a stub does not render any except. Oh, that's so funny. That's a strange little hack. Yeah, so I think I'm going to take this approach of how we're testing the modal here. So we can create this and not actually show the modal, but we can assert that all of these things are here, so that like showing of the modal is something the modal takes care of on its own. We don't necessarily need to test that here in this component. So I like using a stub component thing. The stub component is overriding the template so that all the props and other things will be passed over, but the slot here will always be rendered, and that's what we want. So let's do that. let's go back to here. Let's call the shallow mounts extended. Okay. Yes. But we will add stubs. I think that's what it's called. Geomodal. And we have a stub component thing. Yes. And I can access it this way, or I can access it with the alias helpers, which is right here. Stub component, geomodal. Great. All right. So here I changed it to where I was surprised that nothing was actually being rendered, but now it will show up, which is what I wanted. Yes. Lovely. Okay, so now I get my label and all the other stuff. Even though modal's not shown, that's okay, because this is a unit test. I don't have to test. I don't have to test all the internals of modal. That has its own tests. So let's just assert that we're rendering the label. Great. And then let's assert that we're rendering the input. I'm not worried about testing these like bootstrappy wrapper elements. That's not needed. I'm just interested in the interesting elements. It renders the input. So let's do wrapper dot find input. And that's probably a good thing for me to add to our little helper thing here. Find input. Okay. Oh, we have a test ID for it. So I can already do find by test ID. File name field. Cool. All right. So find input dot attributes maybe to equal. All right. Let's fit that. Boom. So we get those classes. That's fine. We have the placeholder and the type. Okay. And I don't know if we have the value. So I'll go ahead and let's just check out the, let's just say the type is text and the placeholder is, where's that placeholder come from? Oh, that's interesting. So if it's a new file versus a new directory, that's what we'll do. So the placeholder automatically is a new file. So we'll just put it like that. This is hard coded for new files. And because I'm not doing all of them, I'm just going to do to match object. Cool. Great. So we're rendering the input correctly. But I want to also assert the value of the input. So I think I can do this. That's not going to be right. I know it's not right. How do I do that in it's not, is it the, it's not the props, is it? No, it can't be because this is just an input. Let me look up test utils wrapper. There's no value thing here, right? Set value. And updates the V model bound data set value. They're getting the actual underlying element and doing dot value. That's fine. The dot value to be should be initialized as something empty. Yes. Okay. So we're rendering the input. That's great news. And so if we are creating a new file, we are also doing this thing for each one of these template types. We create all of these buttons. So let's go to how do we want to do this? So I have what I like to do. Yeah. So yeah, let's check that out. So I like to do something where I'm finding by all of these buttons, and I create this like object for me to make an assertion on. So I'm gonna go create a helper called find template button. But what I've always struggled with is it's not like I'm finding the buttons. I'm creating this model for it. And so maybe I'm creating this like object that I'm going to use to represent it. Maybe I want to call it like, I can't think about it. I'm just going to call it model. So it's like I'm finding like a model from the template, a model for me to assert against. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'll do something like wrapper dot. Is there any like test IDs or something here that I can? No, there's not. And that's fine. There's no other buttons here. So I'll do find all components GL button. Did we add it already? Yes, we did. Great. All right. And then I map each one of these. So I'm going to get an array. And I'm going to map its, I'm going to get its text. And I'll also assert on the variant x dot attributes variant. I think that's a prop. Props variant category x dot props category. Yeah, that'd be fine. See what happens there. I'll create a function for it. Renders template buttons. See what happens. Find template buttons model to equal. I'll just have it be empty array right now and see what happens there. All right, and this is going to fail because there's a lot of these here. Yeah. Look at all those template buttons we have. Yeah. So where are these coming from? I can hard code these values, but maybe there's like a constant I can just use instead. Oh, that's a getter from the store. That's okay. So the way I'm going to do this, yeah, I'm going to do this by doing something like const actual equals find template buttons model. Actual, you have, I'm going to do length to be greater than 0. And then I will expect actual to equal. I have my store dot. Gosh, I haven't done Vuex in a long time. Do I do store dot? Do I actually do getters? Is that right? And then I can get template types. Is this right? Map. I guess, okay, and I can map my, I've done this and I'm probably wrong somewhere here, so bear with me. Hex is going to be the template.name and the variant is dash. I did something wrong. All right. What is store? Store. I don't, these getters. Oh, is this a namespace thing? It's a namespace thing. Ah, it is. Ah. So in here, yes. These are wrapped getters. Wrapped getters. Yes, I have to specify it by the namespace. Okay, so it'd be something like this. File templates. Yeah, I haven't done that in a long time. Cool. Well, that's great. So we're rendering all the buttons. So that's kind of our starting point for this. Some things that we we'll need to test. So now we're just testing how we render it, but I'm noticing all these events we're not really handling. So we'll definitely want to do test when modal emits primary, test when modal emits cancel, test when template type button is clicked. Okay, but for those, I think let's go ahead and test it now under the context of I just called open on a thing. So these describes this dot path, look at the modal title. Entry, that's interesting. Okay, if we're renaming, but we're on oh, that's interesting. All right, all right, let me break this, go down. Looking here at this describe thing, we're calling it for opening it up. Yeah, based on these different types. You see these conditions in multiple places. So this is interesting. We can open this thing with the modal type of whether it being a tree or blob or rename, apparently. I guess that comes from constants here. Let's look up ID constants. Modal type, yep, tree, blob, or rename. And if it's a rename, it looks like we make decisions based on the type that was actually the path that we're passing and the type that actually exists in our state of entries. And that is how we make a number of different decisions. And so some of the conditions here, button title, yeah. So these conditions are based on all of those things, including like if we're creating a new and then submitting too is going to have different behavior, looks like whether we're renaming or not. And then we call create from template. Okay. So let's deal with renaming as its own describe entity. Let's create this parameterized test is nice, but let's go ahead and move it outside of the default context and into its own thing. So we'll call it when opened as that. And so we'll call create, or I think we're going to mount our component here. Yeah, so here's just the default. We haven't opened anything or we're worrying about anything. We're just going to assert our base expectations that we render these things. And then when we open this as a tree or a modal or whatever, then we'll set the title. Oh, but here we're just, I guess we don't need a path. That path, I guess, is the current. That's fine. Do we want to do that though? Oh, we might want to. Yeah, let's go ahead and add that as something that will pass into there. This is shows file templates. Yeah, we could do this. All right, here's my idea. So we'll have entry type. Yeah, so anytime I open this, we're setting this entry name to, we actually trigger the show on the modal. We want to assert against that. And then we call focus input. So we want to create a to-do that we triggered a focus. We do want to verify that. We triggered showing the modal. We do want to verify that. And entry name, is that just bound to, yeah, and then when we actually submit, yeah. So then when we actually, yeah, okay. So when opened as this with path equal to, let's go ahead and set a path, because I think we're gonna want to, it's worth testing that context out. But we'll initialize it as empty. Okay. So we'll say when we do that foo bar with the path here, open as with path has, and what we'll call here is yeah, shows file templates. We can reuse our same helper here. We don't need this at all where we're setting the form label, because that doesn't ever change. So let's just leave that. The button label. Oh, this is the primary part. So we'll just say we set our modal props here. So the ones that we would expect to change are the title and action primary will be different. So I can do to match object. Title is going to be the modal title. Action primary is going to have attributes. It has something like variance confirm. I could do a match object thing in there too, but we'll do this. It's fine. Button title. All right, let me just fit this thing right now and see where we're at. Oh man, it's adding this space for me. What is up with that? All right, cool. You don't need this one. Do we show the file templates? Let's see. Is creating a new file. That implementation is from here. Modal type equals. So if we're just creating a new file, that's where we do these file template things. Great. So shows file templates. That's not right. Let's F this whole section. Shows file templates. What we'll do is this. How do I want to do this? Because we've already asserting what those templates will be. And I'm kind of wanting to reuse this thing anyways. So here's just an idea. I don't know if we like this, but here's an idea. We can do if shows file templates here. I don't think that's a good idea. No, we won't do that. It gets interesting when you parameterize things. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this, but we'll see. Oh, wait. Yes. Yes. What we'll do is this. As file templates equals, oh yes, actual equals find template but dot length is greater than 0. So I expect actual to be yes. All right. Woohoo! Great. So now we want to make sure we triggered. Oh, I would like to assert inputs placeholder. Yes. It sets inputs input props. I don't know. Input attributes. That's fine. So expect find input. So this is already getting a little long. We want to make it longer. That's fine, I guess. I guess so. Yeah, let's go ahead and I guess we make it longer. That's fine. Well, I was thinking we can maybe this table structure isn't the best for it, but I won't worry about it right now. So we have input value, input placeholder. Boom. All right. Let's go back. Yes, this is obviously not going to work. Value should be input value. We'll go ahead and put this in scope too. I would expect this to be input value. Is that working? Yes, but it is failing. Because when we set it to here, the input value starts out as /. Now it's working. Okay. Expect find input attributes placeholder to be input placeholder. This is going to fail. So dir file name. We have dir and then dir / file name for these ones. Dir / file name _ name. That's interesting. Your file name. All right, sweet. All right, so that does kind of render these obsolete because we're already testing it. So do I want to just get rid of it? Yeah, let's go ahead and just get rid of it. Okie dokie. So looking at what open does, we're setting all that stuff. Great, but we wanted to double check that we're actually triggering focus on our input. And we actually trigger showing the modal. So let's add some spies. Let's mount our component. Let's add some spies. I'm going to do just spy on. So first, let's do the modal showing. So I'm going to do find GL modal. Gosh, I wish there was a way to like, maybe, no, see, it's not going to update its prop. It's just going to update its internal state. So the fact that we're actually calling this method, I think the best way to assert that we actually opened it is to add a spy on that public, that method that we're calling here. I wish we could just assert like a prop that it's actually open or not, but we don't seem to be working that way. And I don't know if it's feasible for us to change it right now. So we'll see what happens. But if I do this .vm, I should be able to spy on show. And down here, shows modal, expect find GL modal VM that show to have been called. Cool. So this is working. But you know, anytime you're actually calling something under a condition, it's nice to assert that it wasn't called regularly. So I am considering, yes, in fact, I want to do this. I'm going to move this spy setup. Let's actually do that here. Spies to help with assertions. All right, let's do that here. So then here we can assert that it's not called. It does not call, does not show modal by default. That's maybe a good assertion. Find GL modal VM dot show not to have been called. I gotta get rid of the F here. Cool. All right. So we're asserting that we're showing the modal. That's great. Now let's trigger focus on elements. So we end up calling this method when we call open, we call this focus input. And so we want to make sure that we are focused. Yeah, we want to make sure we're focused, and it looks like I'm trying to think what this is trying to do. I guess we're setting it if we're doing a rename. Input value is the holds name. I think I just discovered a bug. I think it's this behavior. Let's see if we can open up. Let me open up a smaller project. Let's check this out. Boom. So I think if I do rename, we use this static. No, let's just go here. That's fine. Yeah, we'll go here. So if I do rename, see how that gets highlighted? That's cool. But this is interesting. I think if I renamed this directory to constants.js, and then I said I was going to rename that, that's interesting. You see how it's just going to find the first thing, not actually the name of because we're doing this index of thing. So there is a bug there. This only shows up when we do renaming that selection stuff. If I just do new, that kind of stuff doesn't show up. We already said we're going to handle renaming in a different context. So let's handle that differently. But we are just doing focus. So let's say, hey, we show it. And then, hey, let's say we focus on input. All right, boom. Expect, find, input. And I don't believe I can just say that we're focused. I think I have to assert that focus was called on this thing. So when we are setting up our spies, I'm going to do just spy on find input. And this is an element focus. Find input element focus to have been called. Boom. So then back in our default case, where we're not triggering that event, we said it does not show modal by default. It does not focus input by default. Expect find input element focus not to have been called. Great. Okay. So now we want to figure out what happens when primary, cancel, and a template type button is clicked. So I think those are remaining to-dos here. I'm also noticing all right. So I will just say when we're submitting, if we call submit form, yeah, so rename is its own beast, so we'll handle that differently. So we'll say when we are submitting the form, let's create some context there. We can create some eaches. When submitting, as we'll have the modal type with path. So this would be after setting the input value. All right. So we'll say when we open this modal type, we have the name. I think. Yeah, so if this is a blob, and we have foo bar JS tree, we'll call it footer. For each, we are going to mount the component. We're going to call open with the modal type. name modal type, and we'll just say the path is empty. And we will go ahead and wait next. Did we already do this importing thing of next tick that way? How do we do the next tick last time? We did a next tick thing over here. Yeah, we did it like that last time. All right, next tick. So when we're submitting it, we want it to, oh, but this is after opening it. We're then going to change the, so we'll open it, we'll change the input value and then submit it and then see what happens. So we'll change the input value. So we'll wait after doing that and we'll change the input value and then submit it. So we'll find the input set value to name, and then we'll trigger submitting it, which the way we do that is we're going to emit primary. Yeah. So I'll just, up here, we'll just say const trigger submit. Find GL modal. We'll put these finders at the top. And then these action helpers will be else can be below that. Yeah, we have to do it like this. Primary. I think we have to do it like that. Okay. So after we do that, we'll trigger submit and we'll see what happens. So we're gonna expect when we trigger submit, I'm going to expect this action of create temp entry to be called. And so I think already when we're setting up our store, we are saying we're creating a dispatch. Yeah, so I can just I can say it triggers create temp entry action. Okay, I noticed we also call this thing where we trim path components. So looking at the previous tests, I know that that means that it's like getting rid of spaces within the paths. So I'm going to say expected name is something different so that we can distinguish between what name is going to be in our expectation and otherwise. So we'll have it like foo. It's going to be like this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Triggers, create temp entry action, expect store dispatch to have been called with. It's called create temp entry. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that and see what happens right now. All right, it does not like it because it's actually trying to run the action. And so we will just do something like mock implementation. So it doesn't actually run the action because we don't need it to do that. All right. All right, so it is actually called with the arguments alongside that. So where's our dispatcher? Where was that? I don't think it was down here. Was it down here? Yeah, that's old stuff. That's yeah. Or that's coming up. So name is actually going to be expected name. I need to pull that into context. Expected name, and the type will be the modal type. Hooray! All right, that's working. So we've tested submit without this rename thing. That's great. Let's test canceling. So canceling calls this reset data, where entry name is empty and path is empty. What is path actually used for? What is path actually used for? I don't even know. Like, why is path and entry name different? I guess path is like what it was originally we opened it under. I guess it's really only relevant for like a rename. I guess that's it. Okay. So we'll say we'll just do one. We could just do one when all right, so we'll create a describe here called when opened as tree with path before each. This will probably need to be async, and we'll do very much some of the same stuff. But this time we'll just hard code that this is going to be a tree, and this is foobar, an open as tree with a path. It resets fields and canceled. And I kind of wonder if we want to do that up here. Maybe we do. Maybe we do when we're doing this stuff. So like here, this is all being open under different circumstances. And maybe we want to do something like it resets when canceled. That'd be interesting. Okay, a little action thing here. Trigger cancel. Blah, 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 blah. Find geomodal, VM, emit, cancel. Where was I at? I was down here. Trigger cancel. Yeah. Oh, no. I can just do next tick. All right. And what we would expect to show that it's canceled is I would expect find input value to be empty. The input's value is going to be empty. And we went back to blob mode. So I can kind of just assert that my title is going to be the blob title. I think that that's okay. We'll do it like that. Ops. Resets to blob mode. Resets input value to be what do we call that? GL. No. It was, we'll just leave it like that. Let's see what happens here. It's gonna fail. It's okay. Yes, it should be create a new file. This is gonna pass. All right. This I didn't finish, So that's fine. We can get rid of that. Cool. So we did the reset. Great. So now let's just assert that creating from the template works. Cool. Okay. All right. So I'll create a nice little describe called describe. So let me go back to here. The only to-do that we're working on is, where were those to-dos? Not those ones. Oh, did I already get rid of those to-dos I had added? Oh, I did. Oh, here they are. Okay. We did those. Describe when creating my template type. Okay. I guess technically we use from template type. So here, if we have a parent, oh yeah, is this always just going to use the actual template name, not the name that we supplied it? Oh, yeah. So these names are actually based on template names. That's okay. All right, let's go ahead and say we open this. So before each component, wait, open, no, we'll call open, this has to be a blob type, and we'll call this all right. Open blob foo. We will await. I guess this is we'll call it some directory. Then we'll await the next tick for the opening things to work. Creating from a template. When creating from a template type. Oh, this is interesting. It will toggle the modal. Why won't it just hide the modal? All right, let's go into our action here though. When creating from template type. So we can go ahead and do our action here. We've opened it up. We waited for things. I've been doing this. Oh wait, never mind. Find input, set value to be sumder / foo.js. But then we are actually going to click a template button. So I'm going to say find template buttons, wrap it up, find all components, GL button. That was like that. I'll say find template buttons. All right, and so down here, when we're triggering this, say set input, then trigger button. Find template buttons. @1 VM emit, or can we trigger click the yeah, this is GL button, so we can trigger is no, it does have to be VM emit. Okay. VM emit click. Okay. This is we want it to assert this thing. Triggers. It's going to be a blob type. Awesome. So this is actually the dot getting nor name. So it'll be, you can build that up. You can do sumter. I'll hard code it, but I'll add a comment about it. The name of the president. Okay. Toggles modal. I don't know why we're not hiding the modal. Toggle does not seem right to me, but that's fine. Don't know if there's any events and stuff that we can listen to other than this. So I'll just assert that. I guess we could listen to certain events, just like assert that it was, but it's fine. Find GL modal, VM toggle to have it on. Okay, great. Let's go to where we're making sure we're not calling things. So yeah, here we're gonna make sure these were not called. Does not bring a modal. It does not dispatch actions by default. So like later on when we're doing the store dispatch assertions, this is going to be the negative assertion that complements those. Cool. Great. All right, we're so close. So we've got this thing done. All right, so now we've got this thing done. When file doesn't exist, when file already exists. So we have done this one. And we have done this one. So we need to do when rename. Yeah, so we need to do one when we're doing a rename. Okay. When file already exists. Check create flash. That's all we got left, I think. I think this is an old thing, so I'm gonna delete this. These are our two last to-dos, and then we have migrated the script and it has good coverage. The concerns, so pulling back, thinking about this. Let me make sure. I don't even know if my mic is still on. All right. One of the reasons this testing has been a little slightly painful is because this component is a little slightly painful and has very interesting is not the right word, but undesirable state patterns. So like this modal type, for one, just even having like a type value where we're doing conditions on is a little interesting. But things get really weird when we're doing this rename thing. And now all of a sudden we have to pull from our actual existing entry to know whether we were doing a directory or a blob rename. And so it's like, what is this? What is the truth of, is modal type where we pull whether we're a blob or a tree, or is the original state? How come it's so complicated and spread across multiple places? And so that's kind of what's happening here too, when we're doing a rename. And yeah, this is interesting. Like this file check where we create the flash, that file check where we create the flash only happens with rename. But why doesn't that happen with the other thing too? Like, why, if I go back to here, if I go to create a new file, I'm creating a new file, constants.js, what happened there? And now I'm getting this. Did that happen with the, is that happening because there's a rename, or did that happen? I think that happened because create temp entry handles that kind of flash thing as well. So there's a very messy responsibility. It's not clear when, who owns what, when we're doing things. And so we do it multiple times in multiple different ways. And that's difficult to maintain. All right, that's okay. So we're just focusing on this component. Now we're in rename land. Let's do the unhappy path later. So let's try to trigger renaming a blob and renaming a, what do they call it? Non-blob, a tree. So here's something interesting. So I wonder if we can almost kind of just copy these. Yeah, let's see if we can copy this, but tweak it for renaming. Oh gosh, where did we go? Okay. So it should be, if I go to rename, yeah. Oh, we're a little inconsistent with folder and directory. That's okay. So we're renaming, this is rename folder. This isn't, I don't think, oh no, that should be false all the time. That's not going to change. The input value, does that initially change when we open this thing? It does. We'll go in the input placeholder. Yeah, what was placeholder? Oh, that's interesting. If I do a rename, no matter what, that placeholder is always going to be a directory, which is not true. Because, some weird state stuff. All right. Not trying to fix problems. We're just trying to write. We're trying to do test hardening right now. So, I'm not going to worry about the placeholder thing yet. We'll just assert the input value when we're renaming. Let's see. So we got the modal title is doing stuff with rename. Oh, I can just do a search here for rename. The button label is doing stuff when we're renaming. And then these methods, submit form does stuff when we're renaming. Yeah, so that should be it. Just button title, modal title, input value. Cool. Yeah, and it's going to be based on what the existing entry was of the, and the path is going to be the previous path. And so whatever that existing entry thing was, that's going to be relevant. Let me clean up my table thing here. Oh no, df Bob. Okay. All right. All right. So here we have entry. This is really original path. Yeah. So this is the original type, and the original path is how these things are related and are expected. So kind of what we expect the state to be when this thing happens. So if we open foobar, input value should be foobar. If the original type, whether no matter what type it was, that's going to be rename file, rename file. Okay. But it does look like we have that little selection range thing when we're focusing the input to focus just the latter part of the input. And we do that. This entry name happens to be set as path. So we're just trying to focus on just the latter part of the name. Okay. So we'll call this yeah, we'll create a we'll create a test for that. All right. So here we have orig type, orig path, modal title, button title, input value. Cool. Well, since these paths aren't really changing, I think I can just make that a constant inside of here. How about that? That way we can just be like this. Let's do it. All right. Opened as when renaming and original type. All right. Okay, here we go. This is going to be, we haven't been using these constants here, which isn't great. Let's see if we can maybe start using them. So these come from IDE constants. So when this is going to be modal types rename. Why are you upset? Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah, we'll just hard code this. Foobar. All right, great. Okay. Yeah, these don't exist. Not show file templates. Spec template buttons model. To have length 0. Really? We can have template buttons? Oh, I wonder if why we can have template buttons when I'm renaming a file? No, we can't. Look at this. See, there's no template buttons. What's wrong with you? We can't have template buttons. Did I do this in the wrong place? No. I don't think it likes my to have link. Let's just say that. So if I do model to have link 0, I think it's gonna like that better. Yeah, it liked that. Did it not like that better? Did I not actually open this and wait for things? I'm saying I want to open as a rename, right? Is that not what it's actually called? Is the modal type a different type of thing? What? All right, let's skip this thing. I don't know what's going on there. All right, we can get rid of this resetting thing. What is going on there? Element value. Oh, yes, this should be orig path. But are we not for some reason? Why would we not be? I called before each. We mounted the component. We opened it with a rename. This path. Is the entry name. The entry name is bound to that input value. What am I missing? What am I missing? What am I missing? All right, it is not, it's not saying that these renames are not happening correctly. It's not actually opening this as a rename. When I call open. It's because am I accidentally giving this undefined? I would like to jump into IDE constants. All right, if I do this, are we okay with it? So expected, I expected these renames to be there, but they were not there. So ridge type is not being used. We are opening this thing. Oh, cannot read sets modal props. Properties of undefined reading type. Oh no, it's not actually even running it because I haven't set up the state thing. Okay, yes, because there's a huge assumption that the state is set up as expected. These computeds aren't even getting calculated, so it's just freaking out and blowing up. That's fine. What we want to do is set up the state like we said we were going to. State, no, store state. We can just manually write to the state. We could call mutations and stuff, but we're in view. We can update reactive objects. Should be good. So we're going to update this entries has the original path with Gosh, I know I have helpers for this, but I have no idea where they are. So like when we look at entry, we use type. When we look at these entries, we use, yeah, let me see. Yeah, it looks like we also use name. All right, let's look elsewhere where we're doing state.entries equals. I look at this thing. Yeah, what is this? Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, this is some helper stuff. Let's do that. Let's use this helper. IDE helpers. Okay. So here. All right, we'll put this at the top or here, I guess, and we'll import file from, yeah, that's where we get this thing called file. We'll create entries from paths. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Did I make this thing? No, maybe I didn't. This is all making more sense. Assign. Yes, we can have these entries from paths. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I can just create a nice little state for me to initialize this thing with. Yes, yes, yes. And I won't have to worry about, let's do it. I'm sold. All right. Well, yes. Let's just initialize that over here. Yes. All right. So we'll just create a nice little state that we can start out with. Here we go. Boom. Create entries from paths. That's from this thing. All right. Great. Great. And so these are just paths to, what are these paths to? Looks like name. How are we getting the type? Oh, if it has an extension or not? Well, that's not actually the type. That's fine. All right, let's just use this method. That's fine. We'll call it parent_dir slash so.js. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, we'll just create these. I love it. We're good, right? Oh yes, you're not happy because I started doing other things. That's okay. Okay, but what's great is what we can do here is here's the original type, here's the original path. I'll just use so we won't hard code this thing because it is going to be different. If it's a tree, we have parent_dir. Should I do a nested one? Maybe I should. We'll say I create source parent_dir. That should be fun. All right. So the original path for the tree will be source parent_dir. Okay. And then for here, for the blob, we'll just do source parent. Maybe we should do, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Dir slash, no, let's do the readme. Let's just do that. So we're, okay. Okay, so we have an orig type. We have an orig path. We'll get rid of that. We're opening this up at the orig path. Should be feeling a little better now. Oh no. Oh no. Missing one argument. What are you missing? I don't know. I have a ridge type, a ridge path. Oh, do I need my input value? I do seem to be missing something. And I think I will have my input value. I mean, it should start out as this thing. Yes, a ridge path is not a thing. This will be input value. This is unfortunately always dir. That issue we saw just a little bit ago. Title. Oh, I have these. Do I have these in the wrong? Oh, what? What's going on there? All right, here we go. Yes. Renaming. Awesome. Okay. Selects input name is in there. Does not show file template should work now. We won't test it since it is a bug. I don't know. We'll see. It shows the modal. We are focusing on the input. It selects name part of the input. So I wonder, is there such a thing as getting the selection range for an input? Get selection range input. Method selection start, selection end. I wonder, are those properties that I can use here? Maybe. Here's methods, properties. Is that set selection range? Can I do start? Object, the range of text. Get selection. Is that a thing I can actually do here? Let's see. Console.log, because we're in JS DOM land. Let's see what happens here. Okay, I get this cool selection thing. That's great. Range count. That seems like a general selection thing. I think I do have selection start and select end. So let's try that out. We find input element selection start. See what that would be. Cool. Yes. So that looks like that's actually doing something. So I could say that the selection start. Yeah. So modal title, input value, and we'll call this input range. So it's going to start at that. To the end. Yeah. Selection start. Yeah. And this will be 0. Cool. All right. We're testing things that probably, I don't even think they're being tested already. So we have element, selection start. I know we'll do. All right, let me pull this into scope. Input selection start. Input selection start. All right. Expect. Find input that element selection start to the input selection start. Selection end to be ridge path dot length, I guess. Sweets. All right. It looks like I don't need these. When renaming for a ridge path. Sweets. Okay. So we're doing all this stuff on rename, which is great. So now we just don't have the submit on rename happening yet. So we can do that. We can say as an inner here, inner thing. Oh, I don't have the right thing open. We're so close. We're so close. All right, let's keep it up. All right. So here, when we submit the, let me double check. That's the only other thing that I really need to do for renaming. I'm pretty sure that's it. I know that's it. Yeah. All right. So for both of these cases, I'm going to do the happy path. We'll rename to something we know doesn't exist yet. All right. So I'll have it described here. When renames successfully, and we'll do something like it to do dispatches rename entry element. All right, for each pop expect no. What we're going to do is we will find the input, set the value of it to something we know doesn't exist, to bar. Create this thing up here. Yeah, that was an accident. Looks like did I not need that? Const new name equals, we'll call it Babar, the elephant. Yeah, Babar. Set the value to the new name, and we will trigger submit. So when it renames successfully, it should dispatch the rename entry event. Oh no, I didn't do this right. I probably don't surround these like that. It's probably like that. All right. It is submitted successfully. Trigger the submit. It dispatches the rename event. Expect store.dispatch to have been called with rename entry. Path is going to be the new name. I know it's path, the old path. Path must be the old path. Parent path is not being set. So it looks like parent path is that, I guess, maybe, and name is the new name. Oh, parent path is empty. Okie dokie. All right, that's good. Okay, so let's just do one test for this thing not existing. All right, I think we're good there. So now the only remaining thing is when the file already exists, check that we created the flash. All right, so we can do a cool little thing here where we're going to run desk.mock on flash. Let's go ahead and import it still. Okay. And by default, it does not trigger flash. Expect create flash not to have been called. And let's do that for when we've actually done a successful submission, which I guess would be here. Let's see how that looks. Sweet. All right. So when renaming and file already exists, when renaming and file already exists, it too creates flash. All right, for each, mount the component, open. We are renaming this thing, and the path we'll use is yeah, let's go ahead and just pretend we're renaming. Let's pretend we're renaming to I just realized what happens if you're just renaming to itself. So if it's not the all right, we're gonna ignore some of these complexities about it being deleted or not. Can add. Oh man, yeah, that's gnarly. I have to check the deleted flag. We could do that. I know that the old test didn't have that. I'm getting hungry. All right, let's do that later. But first, we'll just do it when the file already exists. When renaming and file exists, but is deleted. All right. So we open this thing for source parent dir. So we've opened this thing. We expect oh no, let's find the input. Find the input, set value to source. Yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens if I try to submit this without changing it. So if I'm doing a rename, wait, get out of there. If I do a rename, So it just blows up because it's like, hey, well, okay. All right. Find input, set value to source. So that should set to something that already exists. And then we're going to trigger submit. We might not need to wait for tick, but we will. It creates Flash. And it does not dispatch event. Expect stored dispatch not to have been called. Expect create Flash to have been called with the name source is already taken in this directory. Are we good? Woohoo! All right. Oh no, I have an F describe already happening. All right. When renaming and file has been deleted. So let's just store that state entries. I'm just doing it this way. That's fine. I forgot what our cool file was called. It was called foo.js. Renaming and file has been deleted. Well, let's just do that when we set up our state. So I don't have to maybe keep different types of state on here. Deleted JS. Yeah, we'll do that. And then I'll do object assign source state entries, deleted JS, deleted. Okay, so then I don't need this thing and I can just open up from here and say I'm going to set it to deleted JS. And we're doing all of that submission stuff. Great. It does not create Flash. Flash not to have been called. Yes, this is working. Hooray. Dispatches event. To have been called with rename entry. We can make sure we're doing all the path stuff correct too. That'd be great. If I move this deleted one into source, let's do that. That's a great idea. I do source deleted. Okay. to have been called with rename entry. Yes. Name. Oh, we're setting it to source deleted. Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please. What's wrong? No. Oh, it's because I didn't do this right. All right. We're so close. So close. So close. All right. Yes. 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 So path is source parent dir for the JS. Name deleted JS. Parent path source. Yes. Yes. All right. We are in business. This has been migrated and hardened. Cool. So let's go find, I think we have some unnecessary next ticks. Let's see, is this really needed? It's not really needed. Surprisingly. Not sure why. I'm not sure why it's not needed. Maybe it's probably a good idea to leave it, but let's see other ones that are definitely not needed. I don't think this one will be needed. No, that is needed. Okay. I'm thinking these ones after open, I would like to keep, but I'm thinking these ones I don't need. Yeah. The ones that were after the trigger submit, I don't think I need those. Ones after open, I think I do need. So one way of handling that. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Cool. Let's commit this. All right, finished migrating modal spec to v2. Harden the coverage. Improves the coverage from scratch. All right, cool. Let's push. Thank you. That's all I've got. Adios.